It's Ricky Rich with Black Primacy with a quick question. Have you downloaded the Black Primacy app yet? If you haven't, don't worry about it. I just wanted to remind you that it is the number one way to find black owned businesses near you. Whether you're looking for food, fashion, or services, we've got you covered on this app. So download it now and start supporting black owned businesses in your area today. All right? Link in the description.
This little slip helped your grandparents beat Jim Crow. Today, we're going to talk about how the post office turned your porch into a place of power. Money orders bypassed hostile banks, rural free delivery brought letters and packages to your front doorstep, and parcel posts with COD made sure that you only paid when your packages were delivered. So join us today for how the post office helped black folks outsmart Jim Crow. I'm your host, Country Boy, and if you like stories like this, you can find more stories like this at onemyhistory.com. But without further ado, let's get started. So, how did we get here? Before there was the United States, there was mail. In 1792, Congress made two big promises: cheap newspaper postage to spread information and legal protection for your letters. That promise was scaled up with railroads, city delivery in 1863, and clerks sorting mail on trains. In 1864, money orders began to let people without bank accounts send funds with a federal receipt. After the Civil War, Reconstruction briefly opened federal posts to black Americans, including postmasters. Then Jim Crow happened, disenfranchisement, and the Supreme Court's Plessy versus Ferguson decision cemented separate but equal debt traps at crop lien stores and the closing of banks to black Americans. But even so, the federal network kept expanding. In 1879, second-class rates supercharged the black press. In 1883, civil service exams began chipping away at patronage. The rural free delivery was tested in 1896 and went nationwide in 1902, and the postal savings opened in 1911. All of this culminated on January 1st, 1913, with the parcel post launch with pay at the door COD. All of this unfolded with the tightening of the racial order, including segregation inside federal workplaces, and that tension and an expanding federal lifeline in a society closing ranks is the crossroads of this episode. Firstly, money orders. Idea is that you pay a small fee, you got a federal receipt, and the value was sent through mail. There was no local banker needed. A church treasurer could leave Sunday service at the window, buy a money order. That receipt in her purse was federal protection. Next, rural free delivery. The mail came to your porch. There was no risky trip uptown. Carriers brought letters, newspapers, catalogs straight to rural homes. If you were a black family on a back road, that was more than convenience. It was a shield. Sears and Montgomery Ward printed prices in ink with a faceless transaction, no storefront surveillance, no ritual of humiliation. The rural free delivery even pushed counties to name roads and number houses and provide them with decent roads with a little federal nudge. Then all of this culminated with the parcel post. Before that, private express companies controlled packages over 4 pounds and charged rural customers the most. The parcel post pulled heavy goods into a public rate. In 6 months, Americans shipped more than 300 million packages. Sears orders multiplied 5-fold within that year. Tools, seeds, canning jars, school supplies, things you needed to build a life landed on the same porch with the same prices, no matter the city that you lived in. Tied into the parcel post came COD, which was cash on delivery. The carrier didn't hand over the box until the exact amount was paid at the door. There was no money vanishing into the void, no begging the merchant for credit. You paid when your goods arrived. If something was wrong, there was a paper trail and the federal government behind your back. So imagine this. A mother in Mississippi fills out a postal money order. She tucks that receipt in her Bible. She mails the order to a Chicago catalog for 2 pairs of school shoes and a sack of feed. Days later, a rural carrier in khaki steps on their porch with a parcel. He won't hand it over until the exact amount is paid on delivery. She counts the bills, signs the receipts, and opens the box with her kids watching. There was no haggling, no humiliation, just what she ordered, backed by a system that the local courthouse couldn't twist. Additionally, information moved the exact same way. Discounted second-class rates in 1879 made newspapers cheap to ship. Black newspapers like the Chicago Defender, the Pittsburgh Courier, the Norfolk Journal and Guide built Southern readers from Northern press. The Chicago Defender's call for the Great Northern Drive and the Courier's Double V campaign spread news and possibility local newspapers would not print. When officials tried to block delivery, Pullman porters hand-delivered bundles off the train. Meanwhile, inside those papers, job ads, housing leads, train schedules, legal advice, organizing calls, and real calls to action. Another facet of this was the Postal Savings, which was created in 1911. It was a government-run savings bank operated through post offices. Anyone with a few dollars could earn interest with the United States guarantee. During the bank panic of the 1930s, deposits swelled because people believed in that guarantee. Churches would save their building funds there, parents saved their tuition and train fare, and because these dollars sat inside the postal system, you could turn those savings into money orders on the spot. And through all of this, the post office was not just a service, it was an employer, it was work. Civil service exams in the 1880s opened the door just a crack. As the RFD and the parcel post expanded, hiring did too. By the mid-century, tens of thousands of Black Americans worked as carriers, clerks, railway clerks, and postmasters, and created one of the surest ladders into the Black middle class. Steady income plus public standing turned postal workers into NAACP leaders, union organizers, and local officials. However, these protections were real, but not absolute. In Indianola, Mississippi, when white supremacists tried to drive out the postmaster, Theodore Roosevelt refused her resignation. In 1903, he shut the office rather than surrender to federal authority, rewriting Indianola's mail for more than a year. But in Lake City, South Carolina, after Fraser Baker was appointed the postmaster in 1898, a mob burned the office and murdered him and his infant daughter. Federal prosecutors brought indictments, but an all-white jury refused to convict. Without a federal anti-lynching law, even Washington's reach had hit its limits. Starting in 1913, Postmaster General Albert Burleson and the Wilson administration segregated many federal workplaces, including the post office. Separate facilities, stalled promotions, even photo requirements on applications, narrowing opportunities, especially in Washington. Still, compared to most jobs available in the South, postal work offered rare security, dignity, and a measure of protection. So why does any of this matter? In the short term, it offered fair price, wider choice, and transactions with dignity at home. The Cropline store lost its chokehold when catalogs printed prices for all to see, and cash on delivery held the money until the goods showed up. Families could save safely, pay bills on time, and ship what they needed without asking for permission. Information flowed through local sensors, helping fuel the Great Migration with maps, job leads, and a sense of what could be possible. In the long term, a federal habit, a belief earned, receipt by receipt, that some systems could be made to work for Black people, even under Jim Crow. The postmark became proof. The porch became a courier no one could tilt. And postal jobs helped build the Black middle class that could organize, vote, and push progress forward. In the end, the post office didn't end segregation or violence, and federal workplaces themselves were also segregated. But postal tools opened up channels Jim Crow tried to close, and millions of Black households used them to claim choice, safety, and self-reliance. Thank you I'm your host, Country Boy, and this has been One Mike Black History, and this was the story of how the post office outsmarted Jim Crow. If you like stories like this, you can find more stories like this at onemikehistory.com. I also have a Substack where I post notes every day and articles every single week. I would like to thank all my financial contributors and day ones. Without you, none of this could be possible, and I love you all. Peace.
All right, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please check out the other content that we have on this channel. But before you go, I wanted to remind you again not to forget to check out the Black Primacy app. It is the best way to connect with Black-owned businesses near you. They need your support. We need your support. Link in the description.